everybody, and welcome back to the Mongooli Show. Old Man Logan has come to this game, and I'm so excited. I got these metal claws surgically grafted to my skeleton. It hurt quite a bit, and they're a little bit itchy, but it's going to be so much fun. This character's going to be so impactful, especially... wow. Wow. Okay, they are sharp. They're very sharp. But man, after that tournament, I am so looking forward to this character. I think he's going to be really cool. I think sharp claws might not have been the best idea, but seriously, if you watch that tournament, he does such a good job. I can't wait for him. Let's get right into it right after this. Oh, wow. Oh, man. Oh, how do you retract these things? On this chart, you can see the minimum requirements if you want to actually unlock your 4 or 5 yellow star Old Man Logan. If you want the 4 star, you can do it as low as difficulty 8, and you'll need to do 8 of the missions with all of the scourges on. If you want to do 9, you only have to do 5 missions, and if you can do difficulty 10, you only need to do 4 of the missions. Now, if you want a 5 yellow star, you will need to do mission 11, doing 8 of them, 12 doing 6 of them, or 13 doing 4 of them. Now, if you want to unlock Old Man Logan right away, you can actually do it by doing difficulty 15, you only need to do 1 node, which means you don't need to have any star requirements on that team. If you can handle 1 node, you'll unlock Wolverine right away, or Old Man Logan, right away, no problems west. And that's actually what I did last night, that's how I unlocked him right away. Then I went back and did difficulty 10, and then I did all of those missions, which didn't give me the 5 star, it just kind of allowed me to get all the other rewards as I ranked my score up. And then this morning, I actually ended up spending a little bit of money getting Iron Patriot because he was the only one I didn't have at 5 stars and went through that way. So now I've completed difficulty 12, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Now, obviously, you don't need to do difficulty 12. The nodes don't change though. So if you're only working on difficulty 8 or 10 and you're struggling, this guide will still help you out. And if you're working on through 15, theoretically, this will help you as well. You just might have different leveled characters than what I'm going to show you, but I'll show you the ISO and the order and the characters that I used and see if that can help you out at all. If you take a look at the milestones, you can see that you can unlock a 4 or a 5 star Old Man Logan token right away. You can also get 1 or 2 red stars. However, if you want to get more stars or more red stars than that, you will have to go on the leaderboard. On the leaderboard, you can see that you can get a 6 star unlock or 3 red stars if you're in the top 5,000. And if you're in the top 500, you can get a 7 yellow star unlock with 5, 6, or 7 red stars, depending on how high up you can make it. Now for this run, we're going to be doing difficulty 12, and we've got everything turned on. If you're struggling, you can turn some of these off, but the ones you definitely want to make sure of, especially if you have to use in the Cosmic Crucible characters of the Cabal, then you're definitely going to want to make sure that Forged in Fire is on. But honestly, I think you can get by with turning them all on. We'll show you how to do it. If you are doing it at a lower difficulty, that's fine, or a higher difficulty, that's fine. Your characters might not be at the same level, but I will show you the characters I'm using, the ISOs that I'm using, the placement that I'm using, and the kill order that I'm using. So hopefully this guide will be useful to you no matter what. For node number 1, the only thing that we're going to want to do is make sure we're bringing our biggest characters and that we're not using characters that we are going to need on another node down the line. Now, it might seem counterintuitive right after what I just said to be showing you that I'm using Apocalypse, Kang, and Super Skrull because there is a villain node. There's actually 2 villain nodes, but these characters are so incredibly overpowered that I'm not really having a problem with them using them here and using them in another place. You could get away with something probably like straight up just Extreme X-Men on this node or something like that, something that you're definitely not using later on. But for me, I think these characters are big enough, they're strong enough, they're not really going to be a big issue. So for node number 1, what I like to do is I tend to go for the healers over anything else unless there's an absolutely terrifying character on the field. Kestrel is pretty scary, but when you get rid of the rescue, she's actually pretty easy to deal with. Now, I said I like to go after the healers. I don't count Shield Medic. She doesn't do nearly enough. And you'll notice that I'm saving my ultimates and specials with my 3 villains, Super Skrull, Apocalypse, and Kang, because we're going to use them later on. Gambit and Nightcrawler we're not going to use in the future, so I'm pretty willy-nilly with their specials and ultimates, using them kind of as they show up. Again, you can see I'm generally focusing on healers that are going to sustain the team or people that are going to bring in extra members. Other than that, we're just going to pretty much take this node as it comes. It's really, really simple. It's a great way to build up your heavier characters for later. So you've got your ultimates on Apocalypse, Kang, and Super Skrull the next time that we're going to need them. You'll notice that we did speed this up to 200% or something, just because I didn't want this video to be like an hour and a half long. Some of these fights do take quite a while. Node 7 or 8, I think in particular, is just an absolutely brutally long fight. So we did speed this up. Hopefully you can still get all the information you need from it. This first fight's pretty easy though, so there's not a whole lot to say about it. Again, there's a Rescue, a Kestrel, and a Nick Fury. I think I want to take out the Rescue first, maybe even the Maria Hill, so she doesn't spawn in people. She can be very annoying. We do want to make sure that we get rid of Kestrel, though, as her ultimate is pretty strong. But as you can see, we're kind of just blowing through these enemies regardless. We're only using our basics on 3 of our characters, and this fight is still not really a fight. If you are in a struggling position with this one, though, I would definitely say go for the healers, go for Kestrel. Obviously, you have to take out the people that have taunt, but other than that, I think it's, I think you want to go for the healers first. Oh, come on, retract. Oh, how do you put these things away? For room number 2, you are going to need to use your out of time characters if you're playing at difficulty 8 or above. Now, just to be clear, Black Knight is 6 yellow, 5 red, level 100, gear tier 18. Captain America and Peggy are both level 95, gear tier 18. Starnak and Cosmic Ghost Rider are both 5 red star, level 95, gear tier 17. I believe that's what we're playing around with a Fortifier on Black Knight, Raider on Starnak and Captain America, Healer on Peggy, and Striker on CGR. Let's get into it. So the only character here that we end up using again is actually Black Knight. So the other 4 characters don't really matter all that much, but nonetheless, I am going to save Peggy's special for as long as possible so that I have access to reviving a character if I need to. Doctor Strange Heartless is the scariest person on their side of the field to start, so we're going to try and get rid of him as fast as possible. But we also would like to get rid of Wong so we don't get stuck behind his taunt, because once he does that, that can last for an unfortunate amount of time. You'll notice we're not really saving any of our big attacks or anything, because again, we're not going to use most of these characters ever again, so they're pretty okay to just go all in. Just make sure you can make it through the nodes. We are going to have Madeline Pryor showing up in a second, and we want to make sure that we can take care of her as fast as possible. Now, though, obviously, usually Madeline Pryor is not scary, but when the developers use her, they tend to overtune her or do something with her so that she's actually got an ultimate that is really, really deadly to us. We're stuck behind a taunt, obviously, on Strife, but as soon as we can get through that, we're definitely going to want to start focusing on those Madeline Pryors, maybe focusing on trying to kill one and ability block the other, at least until we can actually deal with both of them. They are probably the scariest part of this node. We're going to need a Void Knight later on, and we're not even nearly as worried about him as we're about these Madeline Pryors. You can see that we're making through all these fights on the first attack. That's the power of editing. I did have to redo some of these attacks a couple of times, and so I can tell you, even though we're going to blow through this one, there were times when those Madeline Pryors really messed me up. We're not too concerned about Emma. We're not too concerned about the anti-venoms. Void Knight is the next target once Madeline Pryors are down, and when he's dead, this fight is pretty much over. So if you can focus fire on him, then you should be in great shape. I might be a little bit too lax on using my specials and ultimates on Black Knight. I probably should be saving them more for later and down the road, especially when we're down to these last 3 characters. Are really not that problematic for us. So if you can save up so that your Black Knight is big and strong, that's what you want to do right now. Room number 3 is Cosmic Bio. So what we're looking at here is Super Skrull, Nova, Cosmo, Void Knight, and Photon. Now, we're going to be using Super Skrull quite a bit in this model. If you don't have Super Skrull, you can scythe out. I've heard people using Phyla-Vell doing really well. I might go with Korg and have 3 parts of that Nowhere team. That might be a better way to go. If you have Super Skrull, absolutely use him. And obviously, if you don't have Super Skrull in node number 1, you can switch him out with literally anybody that's not, out of time or Cabal. My Cosmo is a little bit small for this fight, just to throw it out there, but I found him more effective than having a higher level thing. The fact that he can be healing the team up a little bit just keeps him alive. He does have some synergy with Nova. I think he works really well. Void Knight and Super Skrull are both just absolute baller characters, and then Photon was just the highest level thing that I had to go with this team. For this node, the first thing you want to do is deal with the Toad. Toad isn't a very scary character, but when you have a Toad and a Blob together, he can actually do a pretty good amount of damage. After that, you're probably going to get stuck behind a taunt, but the Dark Beasts are actually what you want to deal with. There's nothing here that's actually all that scary. You can probably deal with all this very, very simply, but the Dark Beasts are the worst part of it, so you have to focus on something. You might as well focus on him. Now, we have an Apocalypse coming in, and that's a little bit problematic. We will kind of focus fire on him, do as much as we can. We're not too worried about Magneto, although he can give the blinds, and Archangel and the Wolverines don't really scare us at all. So Apocalypse is the biggest threat. We want to get rid of him, and if we can deal with Magneto before he blinds us, great, but if he does blind us, so be it. Apocalypse is going to be immune and have Safeguard at the very beginning, so it really is just a matter of punching him really hard. You're not going to be able to land anything necessarily for the first little while. So just do your best and make sure that you are hitting him as hard as possible. He will also have like that half heal or whatever thing that he does. So it does take a little while, but it's not that bad of a fight. Now, node number 4 is where a lot of people are going to run into difficulty. This is a hero skill node. We're going to be running our Spider Society team. Now, we've got Striker on both Penny and Pavitar, Healer on Peter B, and Raider on both Noir and Ghost Spider. Sorry, totally lost your name there for a second. Some people are saying they sack this room. We might end up having to do that, but I'm going to try getting through this without the sack to make sure that it does, in fact, work. We're going to go against a lot of Sinister Six, and this is the first time where the kill order really matters. All right, now node number 4 is probably the toughest one. You're going to notice that I'm recording this after I did it. I originally said we're going to try and do this without a sack. I couldn't get it done on difficulty 12, so I did end up sacking the room twice. What you're trying to do there is the goal is to get the 2 lizard ultimates off. If you can survive long enough for that, you should be okay to go into your Spider Society and then beat the node. The kill order is still incredibly important on this one. This is probably the toughest node of the entire thing. So if you can get past this one, you should be doing just fine. Again, I sacked it twice. Is what it is. Okay, so as you heard, we did end up sacking this room twice. So the lizards, while terrifying, aren't as bad as they were before. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to try and kill Dr. Octopus as fast as humanly possible. It is going to be tough because the lizards will still taunt, but we want to get rid of Dr. Octopus before the Spider Slayers come in. He's going to be able to take away some of the negatives. He's going to be able to heal. He's going to be able to bring in another character. He's just not good for us. So the faster we can deal with him, the better. But you do have to deal with the taunt from the 2 lizards first. Once you get rid of the Dr. Octopus, you should spawn in with 2 Spider Slayers. They are your number 1 goal. So what you want to do is you want to stun or ability block one of them and focus fire the other one. If you can control one and kill one, you're in good shape. Now, we weren't actually aiming for Kraven. He just kind of died by splash damage, but that's actually really, really good for us. So you can see that I'm going to go hard on the Spider Slayer on the right next to the... Now you can see I'm going hard on the Spider Slayer on the right, but as soon as I do get one of the ability blocks, I do put it on the one on the left just to make sure that we don't get ultimated or anything stupid like that. And then I'm going to focus fire the one on the right till he's dead. With him gone, we can now focus our fire on the other Spider Slayer, trying to get rid of him as fast as possible. We are going to save our ability block from Penny for when Green Goblin Classic shows up, because we need to be able to deal with him as fast as possible. If you get a Green Goblin Classic ultimate going off and then a Kraven special going off, they kind of go back to back, and it is absolutely brutal. It will devastate your team. So you need to make sure that you're controlling Green Goblin as soon as he comes in. I don't know what I'm thinking about so hard here. All right, we got rid of that Spider Slayer. Here's Green Goblin Classic. We're going to focus fire on him with as much as we can, but we're also going to make sure that we do use our special from Ghost Spider or our ultimate from Penny Parker to give him ability blocks, to give him stuns, whatever we can. Now, the ability block from Gwen didn't land, nor did the one from Penny Parker, so that's not great for us, but he does have a lot of bleeds. He is taking a decent amount of damage, so hopefully we can get rid of him before he ultimates. Otherwise, that would be a lot of damage on our side of the board. There we go. We got the ability block with the second Ghost Spider one. So that's good for us. Now we just have to worry about the Kraven, and he's not that scary by himself, and the Mysterio is pretty much a non-issue. So we're pretty good here already. Keep in mind, this is like the 7th time I did this fight. Okay, so how do I get them removed? They can't be removed. How do I retract them? They're non-retractable? Seriously? So I'm just stuck like this? What the heck? How the fuck? Well, that's just fucking great. Node number 5 allows you to use villains. Make sure you don't pick any of your Cabal characters. You'll need them for later. So I'm going with Super Skrull. Again, if you don't have Super Skrull, you've got a lot of different options in the Superior 6, which are really, really good. But Super Skrull, Apocalypse, Kang, and for me, I have Black Cat and Green Goblin Classic. If you want to switch Black Cat out for Dr. Octopus to get some heals and some synergy, there's not really anything wrong with that. But with Super Skrull and Apocalypse, this is kind of a no-brainer event. So let's just jump right in. Room number 5 is actually a really good palette cleanser after the tough node that room number 4 was. There's nothing in the first half of this room that's going to scare you at all, so you can kind of just work your way through it. Now, I ended up using specials and ultimates just to get through this faster, but you could go with just your basics and save your ultimates and specials for either later in this fight when the Extreme X-Men show up, or down the road when you're going to have to use these teams again. You will need to use the villains half of the screen again. No, you will have to use Super Skrull from this team again, so make sure that he's fairly well built up. But other than that, you can kind of go to town with this. It's a pretty simple node, so you really don't have to worry about it all that much. Once you get down to just one character, the Extreme X-Men will focus in, and then once you get rid of some of them, you'll get a Nova as well. The Nova you definitely want to deal with as fast as you possibly can. You don't want him to get his special off and give you an ability block, or his ultimate to go off and then start keeping his team alive for longer than they should. It just prolongs the fight. So we're going to go for Nova as quickly as possible and try to knock him out. After that, it really doesn't matter which of the X-Men you aim at. They're all threats. You want to make sure you kill all of them quickly. All right, node number 6 is when you're going to need your 5-star Cabal, your Emma, or your Loki. Now, I've been telling you for weeks, don't build up your Emma for this event, and it turns out I was right. If she dies, it doesn't matter at all. You do not need her for the last node, or at least the last time I did this, I didn't need her for the node. So you can see that my Emma is only level like 65 or something, 68. My Emma is only level 68, 93,000. My Loki is pretty well built, and my Masters of Evil are as high as they're going to get. Not Masters of Evil, Cabal. They're not gear tier 19, but other than that, they're like ISO blue 5, they are 100, gear tier 18, like they are incredibly strong. I'm going to put them in a cluster on the left, have the other two on the right. You can see that Iron Patriot is a skirmisher, Leader and Namor are both strikers. Loki's also a skirmisher. Actually, the other 3 are skirmishers. So we've got 3 skirmishers and 2 strikers. So the first target that I want to get rid of is Vol here. Now, the one thing that I mess up in this fight is I would like it if I had Loki's special ready to go for the last fight, and unfortunately, I don't give myself enough time with that. So if you can do that for yourself, it will make the last node much easier. Other than that, though, this node's pretty simple. You are going to have some Spider Society. Pavitar, when he shows up, is a great one to target because he can do quite a bit of damage. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. You will get a Spider Weaver, actually. That's another really good target. Get rid of her before she can do her ultimate and get those charges that are just kind of annoying to work through. She's never actually been a problem for me, but I usually deal with her before she can get the charges, where she probably would become a problem. So you can see we're going to focus on her. Pavitar is probably going to die to the bleeds, if anything else, or maybe just the splash damage. And that's where my mistake is. I don't think I needed to use Loki's ultimate. I could have saved that, and when I get his special up, I definitely could save that, both of which would make him much stronger in the next fight, because he's going to go first in node 10, and if you have a special, then you're in a much better shape. I only have the basic ready to go. We do have a Vol here as well. We can get rid of her. We're not terribly concerned with either of the Asgardians outside of Vol, and the rest of the Spider Society is good to get rid of quickly, but our focus is going to be the 2 original characters, and then when we are done with that, we can just kind of clean up whatever's left. At this point, once you get to this part of the fight, definitely start using basics only, as you want to save up as much of your Cabal and Loki as you can for node number 10. Room number 7 is the Cosmic Bio Room. If you don't have Super Skrull, again, I would say using Korg is probably your best option, so you get the synergy with Cosmo, Korg, and Nova. But if you do have Super Skrull, he's the obvious choice. Now, Cosmo is a little bit more damaged than one last time, but he is a healer, so hopefully he can heal himself and Photon up, and it won't be an issue this time around. I feel like he was full health last time I did this, but we're going to jump right in, and this shouldn't be an issue, but we'll have to check it in. If you thought the last node was easy, this one's just saying, hold my beer. There is nobody here that we're all that concerned about. Shang-Chi used to be a real heavy hitter. He is not nearly as bad as he used to be. I would still focus fire on him because there's nothing else here that we're nervous about at all. At one point in this node, we are going to see a Namor. Definitely try and take care of him as fast as possible, especially if you've got the Cosmic Crucible rooms on, which you should have. So he's going to be somebody you want to focus on, but even he didn't really give me any problems. We kind of just blew through this room really, really quickly, which is nice because there was multiple rooms we had to try multiple times. This one we tried once, and there's no fight here. You got a lot of fantastic 4 characters, heroes for hire characters. Maybe they're going to have a rework coming up, so the next time Old Man Logan comes through, this will be tougher. But on the first run, no challenge here. Again, another Shang-Chi, a couple of the heroes for hire. Just start building up your specials and ultimates for when you're going to need them later on with Super Skrull. I think this is the last time we're going to see the rest of the team, so just worry about Super Skrull for that. Node number 8 is Hero Skill, and you can see that we're going to go back to our, well, not that. And we're going to go back to our Spider Society on this one. Gwen is a little bit more damaged than I'd like, but I think we're still going to be doing just fine here. Peter B. Parker here is a healer, so that should help. I don't feel like this node was nearly as tough as the first node with Superior 6, so let's jump right in. This node is very, very easy, but incredibly time consuming. The 2 absorbing mans have such an incredible high tolerance and resistance and health pool, and they're taunting, so you're going to have a hard time just getting through them. What I strongly suggest is as soon as either one of them does not have taunt, focus on Titania and then Firestar. They seem to go down significantly faster when those 2 females are dead. So if you can get rid of them first and then go back to the absorbing mans, they should fall a little bit faster. Now we've also got some of the Gamma team, and once we start clearing some of the Masters of Evil, you'll get 2 of the Hulks and a She-Hulk drop in. I promise you, none of those are nearly as scary as the 2 absorbing mans. Well, none of them are scary. That's the wrong term. None of them are as tough as the 2 absorbing mans. If you can get rid of Titania, Firestar, the 2 absorbing mans will go down. Once they go down, you should be able to get rid of the rest of the Gamma team pretty simply. The end of this fight is going to be a Kang and a Red Hulk. If you know how to control the Red Hulk, which is to say don't attack him at all, make sure you're doing attacks that don't splash damage onto him until he gets rid of his immunity and until you can give him either a stun or a ability block with either Ghost Spider or Penny B. Parker. Then you can focus fire on the Red Hulk, get rid of him pretty simply, but until then, try your absolute best to avoid hitting him, and you should do just fine. There's going to be a whole lot of vamping for this fight because the fight goes on for so incredibly long because of these stupid absorbing mans, and there's not a whole lot to say. It's not a hard fight. Just do your best, make sure you're doing your management. Don't waste your ultimate on Penny B. Parker or your special on Ghost Spider until Red Hulk show up. You need to make sure that he's not going to get his ultimate off. Okay, now that the absorbing mans are gone, you'll notice the rest of the Gamma team falls pretty quickly, and we're going to get a Kang and a Red Hulk jumping in. Again, avoid hitting Red Hulk as much as possible. Be careful with your splashes. You want to make sure that you're not hitting him at all if you can save it. Once he gets rid of his safeguard and his immunity, you want to ability block him, you want to stun him, and then you want to go all in on him. But until then, don't hit him if you can save it. Kang, go all in on Kang. You can see me checking to see if it hits a primary or adjacent. It does hit adjacent, so I just go with the basic on that one. There, Kang's gone. We got the ability block on Red Hulk. We're doing just fine. This is exactly how you want this fight to play out. And now it's just a matter of getting in enough damage to kill him before he goes off. And there it is. And we're back with the last node. This is the villain node. We're going to go back in with our Super Skrull, our Apocalypse, Kang, Green Goblin, Classic, and Black Cat. Again, if you don't have Super Skrull, if you don't have Apocalypse, you can bring in Superior 6 here. I would still bring in Kang, but you can bring in Superior 6 here and you'll do just fine. But again, why would you not bring Apocalypse and Super Skrull if you've got them? So for this node, we're going to have a lot of Young Avengers and A-Force members. Now, I'm going to focus on Echo first, at least as long as I can, so that we can try and get rid of her so we can use our assists. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of characters here that we're all that worried about at the moment. I would say Captain Marvel and maybe Spider-Woman are two of the scarier ones, and even they are not that terrifying. The worst thing Photon can do is blind us, so we're not terribly worried about her. We're just going to get rid of her as soon as possible, and we'll notice the rest of the Young Avengers coming in. Now, there's a third wave after this wave. There is literally nothing on this wave that we're concerned about, so we're just going to have to blow through this to get to the last wave, and even the last wave doesn't really have anything that scares us so much as just Squirrel Girl has the ability to prolong the match more than anything. So let's just burn through these ones. We'll get to the final. Again, if you're using Superior 6 here with Kang or even without Kang, I still feel like this is going to be a very, very easy fight. Maybe focus on Nico Minora before worrying about Jessica Jones or Miles Morales. Neither of them do much, to be honest. But realistically, you're just kind of working through here to get to the last node. If you are having any struggles with this, let me know in the comments and I can try and help you out. I'm blowing through this so easily that I'm assuming most people aren't, but maybe at lower levels this is tougher if you don't have the characters built up ready for this fight. Again, Squirrel Girl has to go the second she shows up. You want to get rid of her quickly, and then I'd go for Spider-Woman, and then just whatever is left, just do the cleanup. All right, and here we are at the very last node. Congratulations if you've made it this far. You do need 5-star, sorry, you will need to use your out of time Cabal, Emma Frost, or Loki for this. So make sure you've got at very least 5 of them saved, but Cabal is what you're really looking for here. For a lot of people, myself included, this could be your very first time going up against Mephisto. I didn't find him that hard the first time I fought this node. We'll see if I can do it again the second time, but you do need to be prepared. So we're going to make sure we're going to saving some of our ultimates for that fight. Now, this is the composition I used last time. I didn't mean to use Loki. I wanted to come in with Captain America, but I did use Loki and the fight went incredibly well. So we're going to try that again. Again, you've got Iron Patriot as a skirmisher, Leader and Namor as strikers, Loki as a skirmisher, and Black Knight as a fortifier just to try and keep him alive as long as humanly possible. Let's jump into it. All right, this is the last fight. If you've got your Loki up with his special, doing it on Robbie will get him really heavily hurt as his whole team will turn on him. So that's the way to go. Unfortunately, my Loki did not have his special ready. And we're going to notice he's going to fall pretty early. Now, I did try this fight multiple times. So this is the one that I actually was able to make it through on. So that's what we're going with. But if you have to start it over again, if you get bad RNG or something, don't worry about it. You can take a couple of tries. It's fine. Just make sure you exit before your last member dies. That's super important, or you will have to start the entire trial over again. Now, our Black Knight got hurt more than I would like. We are going to make sure that we get Robbie off the field as fast as possible, then Black Cat, then Mr. Sinister. If Mr. Sinister makes a clone of one of your Cabal members, you will want to take out the Cabal member first and then go for Mr. Sinister. Once they're done, you're going to get Zombie Juggernaut, Zombie Iron Man, and a Nova in his blood suit, which I think is actually pretty cool that they're using all those fancy suits and whatnot. The zombie Juggernaut will have a taunt, so you'll have to get rid of him. But as soon as you're done with him, focus fire on the Nova. You want to make sure that Nova goes down before he gets his ultimate off. If he gets his ultimate off, Mephisto will be much tougher. After that's done, you're going to have Robbie show up again along with some Dark Hunters and Green Goblin Classic. Green Goblin Classic's ultimate ability is brutal, so you definitely want to get him off the table as fast as possible. We want to go for Robbie as well, but unfortunately, as soon as we kill Green Goblin, Mephisto shows up, and Mephisto definitely takes priority. We're going to have a couple of our ultimates left over, and we're just going to hit Mephisto as hard as we possibly can. And thankfully, all of our things seem to hit pretty nicely, and he goes down fairly quickly, which is great for us. The fight's not quite over once he goes down, though. Robbie is still a contender, but if you can get rid of Robbie, the last two members are really not that tough, and you should be in good shape. Be careful with your health, though. If you do lose your lost member and you have to start again, you might have to start the entire thing again. So do be mindful, pay attention to what you're doing, but at this point, you're not saving anything. You're on the last node. Just throw everything you can at them and see what sticks. Once this fight is over, you'll notice we end up with a score of 6.3 million, which is good enough for, I think we had 13, we were in the 1300th place. We've already dropped to 1600th place. I'm hoping we'll stay in the top 5,000, but we'll just have to see. Good luck, Commanders. Claws were a bad idea. 0 out of 10. Don't recommend. Send help. Twitch.tv/Mongooli Show. Like and subscribe.